Hello and welcome to Wisdom for Wannabes, the podcast that seeks wise words in business, beauty, and betterment. I'm the host, Jackie Morreale. Today's guest has built a career around precision, discipline, and constant progression. From the Youth Olympic Games in golf to a career in aviation, where the stakes are real and the standards are uncompromising, Johannes Schwab holds commercial airline pilot certifications from both the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA for U.S. travel, and European Aviation Safety Agency, EASA, for European travel, along with multiple aircraft type ratings, and now serves as first officer for Austrian Airlines. This conversation is about mastering complex systems, making decisions under pressure, and what it really takes to operate in environments where preparation and trust are everything. Other than wanting to learn quite literally how to fly from Johannes Schwab, I'm so proud to say that I've known Joe since he was 4 years old and watched him naturally excel in sports, both extreme and traditional, and throughout all of your accomplishments. Welcome to Wisdom for Wannabes, Johannes Schwab. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's go right into the questions.
Sure, go ahead. I'm ready.
For those of us who might be meeting you for the first time, can you please start with your full name, where you're from, where you live now, and a little bit about what you do?
Great. My name is Johannes Schwab. I'm originally from Wannabes in Austria, which is a really small town in the middle of Austria in the Alps. It's a very beautiful place surrounded by mountains. Right now, I live in Vienna. I also work in Vienna. I work as a first officer for Austrian Airlines, and I operate an Airbus A320 and A321s. As a pilot, I fly passengers from point A to point B. I start my day in Vienna, and unless I have a layover somewhere, we usually go back to Vienna, and that's where my duty also ends. That's basically what I do for a living.
It sounds like such an amazing job to be flying from Vienna to other places throughout Europe. What is your favorite part about your role?
My favorite part is definitely the craft itself, like flying. When I completed my training, I realized being at the controls, hand at the controls, the other hand at the throttle, or now at the thrust levers is exactly what I wanted to do. It's a lot of fun.
What is that feeling like? It must be a total mindset shift than the rest of your life to be flying an Airbus.
The good thing about becoming a pilot is you start in small aircraft. You start in propeller-powered aircraft. Most of them only have 2 seats, one for the instructor and one for yourself. You work yourself up. In my case, after flying single-engine aircraft, you fly a multi-engine aircraft, which is already a little bigger. At first, you might be a little intimidated because all of a sudden you have 2 engines. It's much more powerful. Then you maybe transition to a bigger airplane. In my case, a business jet, which was my first jet-powered aircraft. It's already a lot faster. The transition from flying propeller-driven to a jet-powered aircraft is enormous. The speed is so much faster. The aircrafts are a lot bigger. Transitioning from a business jet to an Airbus is just incredible. You have to perform a walk around the aircraft to inspect it for damages or anything suspicious to make sure the aircraft is airworthy. I still remember performing the first walk around at the Airbus A320, which was extremely impressive because this aircraft is so much bigger than a business jet. That's also something that might be intimidating at first, but you get used to that. Once you're used to an A320, you look at an A380 and think, wow, that's a big aircraft. At some point, it's just your workplace and you get really used to it and familiar with it through training and practicing and experience. That's where I'm probably now. So at some point you get used to it.
I can only imagine getting used to checking an Airbus A320. I think when most people hear pilot, they might imagine one thing. What's something that maybe we don't see in your day to day?
Very early mornings, late nights, working the entire night. That's something we do on a regular basis. Let's say you are having the morning shift. It's pretty common to wake up at like 3:30 or maybe even earlier. Also having entire night flights. We have a few flights where you start work at 9 o'clock in the evening and you finish at 11:30 in the morning. You just fly the entire night. Then you deboard, refuel the aircraft, board again, and take off and go back to Vienna. Pilots do not like delays for sure. I mean, passengers do not like delays, but we pilots also don't like delays. We want to be on time and finish on time. Everything is timed very closely. At some point, delays add up. It's really difficult to get rid of the delay or land earlier. It's definitely something we also do not like.
From the perspective of a passenger, I just show up and I hope that everything's on time and clear skies and we just fly and get from point A to point B. Your role is not just you show up. There's so much preparation. There's so much planning. There's so much to it. And if there are delays, they compound and they mess up your whole schedule, your whole work-life balance. It's a lot of pressure in this job.
Maybe a little. When I look at my captains, you realize those guys really have a lot of experience. And you get into situations and you learn from these situations, then it becomes experience. And at some point, you have been through many different situations, departure delays, for example. You realize, okay, I've been in this situation before or in a similar situation. We could try this or that. Maybe we ask for a different flight level that we can fly on, maybe a different routing to get rid of the departure slot. Those are also things that you learn through experience. At least that's how I see it. You've been in so many different situations. You can just pick a little experience from this situation and that situation and mix it together and create your own package of solutions that you can work with.
Wow. They say pressure makes diamonds. You turn pressure into experience that then becomes tools that you can use to apply and do anything going forward.
Right. Yeah.
Cool life being a pilot. I'm going to start calling you Top Gun or Maverick instead of Joe. Let's go through some quick fire questions. I know that your mind is always making decisions on the split seconds. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. Regarding Austria, to top off the list, what is your favorite place in Austria?
Wannabes.
I was going to say, there's going to be a lot of people in Ramos who are upset if you don't call it Ramos. Mine too, by the way. Alps or city?
Alps.
Alps, of course. Favorite Austrian food?
Wiener Schnitzel, but only from my mom.
Favorite Austrian tradition?
Well, we have these so-called Bierzelt, a huge tent in which traditional Austrian music is played, and they serve excellent traditional food and beer. And translated from German to English, it's basically a beer tent. I love the music. Since I also play a traditional Austrian instrument, I'm a huge fan of this type of events.
What instrument do you play?
It's called the Steirische Ziehharmonika. It's an instrument that uses air to create sounds. It has like little buttons on the right side and a few buttons on the left side. Pull and push and press buttons. This creates a sound. And it's a very traditional Austrian instrument. It's really fun to play.
Is it like an accordion?
It's similar to an accordion, but the Austrian version of an accordion. Exactly.
I need pictures and video. I can't wait to see this. Wow. I could go on and on with questions about Austria because I love it. You love it. Let's talk about flying. Mm-hmm. Takeoff or landing?
The landing.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I would think that's the pressure cooker right there with the landing.
You just want to nail the landing. Your colleague sitting next to you, one flight, it's him who is doing the flying, and I'm doing the pilot not flying, monitoring stuff like talking on the radio. Next flight, it's me who is flying. You do compare each other according to the landing. It's also one of the reasons why flying is fun, because that's when you're at the controls. That's when you actually steer the aircraft and not the autopilot. That's when you can actually fly the aircraft. That's definitely the reason why I prefer landing to take off.
So fun, that camaraderie. What a great way to support each other and kind of gamify and make it a little competitive.
It's a little, pushing each other, trying to perform very nice and smooth landings. You spend a lot of time with your colleague. It's nice that we push each other to become better and perform very well.
Next question, autopilot or manual?
Manual.
Yeah, for sure. Favorite airport to fly into?
That's a tough one. Maybe London Heathrow. Yeah, London Heathrow. It's super well organized and structured. They have excellent air traffic control. They give you amazing radar vectors for the approach, which is actually really fun flying. When air traffic control gives you radar vectors, they create this separation to the aircraft in front of you and behind you to make sure there is the exact distance between the two aircraft to avoid wake turbulence. Those guys are really good at it. For us pilots, at least for me, I really respect their work because it's difficult and they are doing a fantastic job. They just line up the aircraft right behind each other. It's very, very well organized up there. This is a great airport.
Amazing. Shout out to all the air traffic controllers out there. Not an easy job either. They are doing it every
Absolutely.
day and making magic happen. Adrenaline sports, skiing or skydiving or gliding, or whichever one is your favorite.
I love skiing. I would say skiing in this case.
Biggest adrenaline rush.
Honestly, I'm glad that the work I do does not give me an extreme adrenaline rush because that would probably be super exhausting after some time. But I guess skiing down a really steep, awesome slope gives me a really big adrenaline rush. That's really a cool thing to do.
I agree. Nothing like it. On golf, early tea time or late afternoon?
Despite I do not like getting up extremely early, I would say early tea time. It's an amazing atmosphere playing in the morning.
Driving range or full round?
I would say driving range.
Favorite thing about flying?
The craft itself. Being at the controls and flying the aircraft. I recently read a really interesting book about 3 specific birds that live in the Austrian Alps. I'm really into nature. It explains everything about those 3 birds. It's really fascinating. I think it took me maybe a week to read the entire book. And that's usually the kind of books that I read. It's nonfiction.
A guy who loves the speed behind the wheel on skis in the air on the mountain. You read about birds. That's beautiful. What's the name of the book so I can read it too? Is it auf Deutsch? Do they have an English translation?
There might be an English translation. It's not a goose. It's like a bird that is only active in the early morning. So you got to get up super early. It's called a Birkhuhn. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a very interesting book.
The next time you're here in Palm Beach County, we do have some cool birds here too in the Everglades. I do find myself birding while I'm running and hiking and taking pictures of all the cool nature, especially the birds. Favorite quote or mantra for life? Of course, it can be in German.
This one's actually in English and I love it. Have you heard of the 5 Ps?
In marketing or
Probably
in
not
life?
in marketing. In life.
Product, price, placement. No, different piece. Okay.
It's not that. The 5 Ps that I'm referring to are proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's great. I love it. I've used it for my pilot exams. I always practiced really until I thought, well, there's no chance of failing. I have to pass because I prepared myself very, very well for this exam and it worked out. That's why I love the 5 Ps.
Love it. Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Exactly.
I'm going to use that too. Let's talk more about flying. I love that you prepared yourself to such a degree to literally pass with flying colors and make this your life and your career. I've known you for a long time and you've always been smart, always training for something, always athletic, always a leader in life and on the court or field or course or sky. Tell me more about aviation. Was it always the goal? Did it reveal itself over time? Tell me how you got into this field.
It revealed itself over time. I didn't think that I would become a pilot until I was 20 years old. That's when I became a glider pilot. I always thought you got to be extraordinary and super special to fly an aircraft or to become a pilot. In the end, it turned out that anybody can become a pilot. You just need to put in the work, study hard, and also have some feeling for flying an aircraft. I don't think it's a gift. I think you can train it. I also believe that anything can be trained, but that's how I started. I became a glider pilot. Then I trained to become a private pilot. I received my private pilot's license for a single engine propeller driven aircraft. After that, I thought, well, this is definitely the coolest thing ever. I want to do this for a living and fly the big airplanes. So I did some research and I figured out those are the exams I need to pass. This is the theoretical knowledge that I need to know, the practical skills I need to possess. That's how everything came together. I went to the US to receive my FAA commercial pilot's licenses. Then I came back to Austria and also received my European licenses. That's when I had the opportunity to apply for pilot jobs in Europe as well. I landed my first job in the business aviation sector on a business jet. After an additional type rating on a little bit bigger jet, I transitioned to the airlines. And right now I'm flying the eighth.
You're living the dream. I love that you said that anyone can fly. I think anyone can do anything if you put your mind to it, like you did, find out what really makes you tick and figure out how to get yourself trained and qualified. You said that pilots you thought had to be something extraordinary. You, Johannes Schwab, are extraordinary in so many ways. I appreciate your humbleness, but just know that you are extraordinary. And I'm so proud that you found this and charted your path to do this. Let's talk about starting as a commercial airline pilot. What is a lesson from your first months as a commercial airline pilot that still sticks with you today?
Every flight is different. You learn something new every day. There are so many new scenarios and circumstances. You really need an open mind because you can learn from anybody and anything every day. That sticks with me today.
I totally agree. You can learn something from somebody every single day. You hold commercial pilot certifications from both the FAA and EASA.
Correct.
What did you learn from each? Was the experience different in LA for US flight versus in Europe with EASA?
The training was very different. In the US, there is more focus on the actual flying skills and less on the theoretical knowledge part. In Europe, there is much more theoretical studying to do and probably less flying skills required. Just for comparison, in the US, I had to take 3 theoretical exams in total, maybe like 1,500 questions in the US.
That sounds like a lot. Okay.
It sounds like a lot at first, but if you compare it with the European exams, it's different. In Europe, I had to take 14 different exams and I had to prepare like 20,000 questions. So there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between the US and Europe. However, the flying part in the US was amazing because they had us do different maneuvers and actually have or create this feeling for the aircraft that I was mentioning before, which did not take place in the training in Austria. For example, they had us do lazy eights and chandelles and turnaround points and other maneuvers, which is great for gaining this feeling for your aircraft and improve your flying skills. This didn't happen in Austria. So I was in the really lucky position to receive the practical skills which were required in the US and also the theoretical knowledge to pass the exams in Europe.
This is amazing. I don't know what a lot of these terms mean, but I can imagine what a lazy eight is based on movies. The idea of you doing these kind of maneuvers over Southern California is so cool. And bringing that wealth of knowledge with you for the theoretical knowledge that you needed to have for European flying. Best of both worlds. So at what point did you feel like you shifted from learning to fly to truly thinking like a pilot?
That probably happened after my first type rating. At this time, I've been only learning nonstop, soaking everything up. After my first type rating, I flew one specific aircraft pretty much every day. Once you get used to this aircraft, you know the aircraft will react when you steer it. At least I thought, well, this feels normal. I'm really getting used to this aircraft. That's probably when I transitioned from learning to actually thinking or just acting on instinct. That's how I would describe it. But it took some time. You know, the training over the years was necessary to eventually create this feeling and thinking like a pilot.
Type rating, what does it mean?
Well, basically, it's a specific authorization for you to fly this particular aircraft. So you learn everything about the aircraft system, starting from the engines, hydraulic system, landing gear, pressurization, air conditioning, electrical systems. Once you complete the theoretical exam, you move on to simulator sessions. During these sessions, you go through all the normal operations and also the abnormal and emergency operations during which you handle engine failures or electrical malfunctions or hydraulic malfunctions and use checklists and so on to handle any malfunction that could possibly impact the aircraft.
I had no idea that a pilot was responsible to know all these things about their aircraft.
Yes, it definitely helps. The good thing is we operate according to standard operating procedures and we use lots of different checklists for malfunctions. Most of these things we're not required to know by heart. We only need to know a few things by heart. Those are called memory items for specific malfunctions during which we need to act very, very fast. And with precision, we need to apply these so-called memory items. For example, during loss of pressurization at a very high altitude, we need to apply the memory item for an emergency descent. But for different malfunctions, we use checklists and procedures to handle these problems.
So you've earned multiple type ratings. What does it take to become certified should you want to move to a different aircraft?
The ground course is a requirement, and time in the simulator is also a requirement. What I thought is most demanding during a new type rating is the avionics part. Most of these airplanes have a so-called flight management system and a flight management computer. You use this computer to program the autopilot and to tell the airplane, today we're going from point A to point B. With these parameters, being able to navigate through this flight management system probably takes quite some time. This is the most challenging parts during a new type rating. Gain or to have the feeling for the aircraft, how does it react when I move the yoke, the control stick or the side stick for an Airbus. You get used to that quite quickly. But learning a new avionics system is probably the most challenging part.
You're not only able to maneuver your aircraft, but you also have to have the understanding of the brain behind the aircraft and how you program it. You're flying over the Alps often, and that's not an easy thing to do should there be an emergency. Have you ever had to use any of those memory
items? The good thing is I have never had to use one of those memory items, but we do practice these maneuvers and procedures twice a year. We're on the simulator twice a year and we go through all the normal and abnormal operations. I wouldn't say it's intuitive, but I believe practice makes perfect and experience helps a lot. I can assure you that whoever is sitting in front is well trained. The authority ensures that we are trained and we are actually capable of flying this aircraft.
Love that you just used 2 more P's. Practice makes perfect, which is adding to the 5P list. Having this conversation with you and knowing nothing about aviation except that I like to fly places sometimes, it does give me such a feeling of appreciation for what you do as a pilot, the time and the passion that you do put into all your training and to maintaining that. I'm grateful for you and for all that you do and have done to be that person that brings people places safely. So for you, what is that first moment like stepping into a new cockpit?
In a new cockpit after a type rating, it's a little overwhelming. As a young pilot, you spend lots of hours studying, training and preparing. Then you get the type rating. You're in the simulator, which is already similar to the real cockpit, but it's not the real cockpit. Finally, you get the opportunity for the Airbus. You walk up the stairs, then you go into the airplane, make a left turn. That's when you see the real cockpit for the first time. It's just overwhelming. It's just amazing if this is exactly what you want to do, it's everything. It's really cool.
Is mastering a new aircraft more about the technical knowledge, theoretical, or the mindset?
At first, it's more about the theoretical and technical part. I fly with people who fly for 35 years and they are super experienced and they have multiple different type rating. For them, it's probably just a mindset. But at first, if you're not that experienced, it's more about transitioning or learning about the theoretical and technical things of the aircraft.
To be that guy sitting there next to a young pilot, 35 years in and multiple type ratings under your belt already, you've done so much. And I love what you said before about it's everything. So let's talk more about decision making under pressure. In aviation, small decisions have big consequences. How do you stay calm and precise?
Before I answer this question, I would like to add that usually we try to avoid situations that require difficult decisions. We prepare ourselves. Before we go flying, we check the weather, we check the airports, we check NOTAMs, which is notice to airmen. In these NOTAMs, we sometimes read, this airport has 2 runways, but one of those runways is closed. Some navigation facility is unserviceable. And those are all really important things to know. Or maybe one approach facility is inoperable and therefore we need to fly a different kind of approach. If you don't look at those NOTAMs and you get confronted with these situations 5 minutes before you need to fly the approach, you are in a situation you don't necessarily want to be in. I'm coming back to the 5 Ps. If you prepare properly, you can avoid many of these situations in which you need to make difficult decisions. In the aviation industry, we use lots of standard operating procedures. Following these procedures allows us to make great decisions. We also have interesting decision-making tool that helps us to make decisions under difficult circumstances. This is an acronym. It's called FOR-DEC. It means facts, options, risks, decision, execution, check. If you follow these things, it really helps for decision making. I already used this decision making tool in my private life once, and it works well.
I am overwhelmed by you, Joe. I always knew you were a smart guy, athletic guy. The depth of knowledge that you bring to the aviation career is an incredible thing. I'm going to bring it back to something that I know a little bit about. You have this background in fitness, athletics. You're a certified fitness instructor. I also have fitness certification. It's such a crazy thing that
Nice.
we both have it. Yours in Europe, mine's in the US. Is there anything from that you're able to bring into this discipline?
I believe being in great shape allows you to stay on higher alert for a longer time. This is actually something very important. Let's say we work the entire night, and at some point, one of us needs to make a landing at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Both of us might be tired. There might be some crosswinds, which is more challenging than with calm winds. Especially in these situations, you need to stay focused all the way until after landing, until you are at the parking stand. I do believe that being in great shape and having great fitness allows you to stay mentally alert and healthy for a longer time. Physical training that I did in the past allowed me to stay or be more consequent when I do things. Fitness or train or sports isn't always fun. If you're not motivated to hit the gym, for example, or perform any kind of training or workout and you still do it, I think it probably trains your mind as well. And this is definitely a huge advantage.
What keeps you motivated, Joe, to keep showing up at this high level?
I think it's passion. I love what I do. I hope that other people have that much fun doing their job and enjoy whatever they do as much as I love what I do. It's not work for me. Sometimes I don't like to get up early. I'd like to stay in bed at like 3:30 when the alarm clock rings. But honestly, the moment when we set a takeoff thrust and we accelerate on the runway, that's just awesome. It's my passion, and I'm really grateful and happy that I found something that I love. I don't need extra motivation. I just like what I do.
Any wisdom to share with somebody else who might want to follow in your footsteps and become a pilot or an aviation professional?
Anybody listening, if you think of becoming a pilot and that's your dream, I can only tell you, do anything that is required, study hard, get your licenses, and it will pay off. And from my point of view, it's the most awesome job that you can have. And if you're thinking about doing it, go ahead. Do it. It's fun.
Any shout outs to anyone in your field who's doing a really great job?
Definitely. He's a friend, a very close friend of mine. I don't know if he knows it, but I see him as my mentor, and his name is Robert. If he's listening, thanks to Robert. He helped me a lot. He taught me a lot. He has so much knowledge. He's also a really awesome person. So thanks to Robert.
That's amazing. What is next for you, Johannes Schwab?
Something that I really want to do is in the aviation sector. I want to start teaching people on the A320, younger people who just start their type rating. I want to teach them what I've learned, help them become better and achieve their full potential and realize how amazing aviation is. That's something I want to do next.
They don't even know how lucky they are that you're interested in giving back to the next gen. That's an amazing next goal for you. Thank you so much, Joe, for taking the time. I know you're busy flying all over the world. Thank you for doing what you do every day and getting people where they need to be safely on time.
Thanks. I really had a great time talking to you.
Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.